Hello, my name is Brynna, and I'm humbled to be a guest on ancestral lands of the Lami, Samish, Saanich, Songhees, and Semiahmoo nations on what is now known as Orcas Island in Washington state. I am also grateful to my collaborators Kayla and Lisa for their amazing work on this project. Okay. Our design project is centered around an area on the north shore of the island, known to some as the North Beach Node. There, a community of necessity has been evolving over the past 3 years. It is comprised of family and friends of the property owners who have nowhere else to go, as there is a housing crisis on the island. What began as just camping out on mostly undeveloped land has grown into a community that is a hub for young musicians. With more stability comes more responsibility to place, and this season we are learning how to best tend the land and improve our living conditions. The Comfreys have a long-term goal of living in a proper community on this land, so this design is an effort to help transition the current arrangement into one that is more intentional and sustainable. Okay. The Comfrey family property is mostly forest, with a clearing containing a fenced garden and young orchard, and an old trailer near the county road. The trailer has electricity and gets non-potable water from the neighbor's catchment system, who are the Comfrey grandparents. Drinking water is brought from off-site, and washing is done elsewhere as well. There are 8 neurodiverse people living in 6 distributed dwellings. Okay. There are many salmonberry thickets throughout the property, which are Zone 5 in terms of human use, but provide much habitat for birds and deer. There are 3 Zone 1 areas, though the trailer is the most popular social space. Zone 4, the tended forest, in blue, is a permeable edge as the neighbors are good friends. Okay. Our specific goals can be thought of as concentric rings, like the 5 zones, emanating from a grounded center. The first goal requires us to recognize the systems that don't work. For instance, the trailer kitchen became very crowded when a new group of people moved back onto the land. Okay. People's personal belongings can get damp and moldy due to a lack of storage, and the property is full of artists who have no real space in which to create. Kayla will speak more about structures later on. Okay. Gray water from the kitchen will be routed to a mulch bed nearby, which will water a new willow tree that will in turn be used to propagate a willow dome. Human manure from the outhouse will be composted with food scraps and eventually used on the orchard. Okay. The Comfrey family property could not be designed without considering its relationship to North Beach Inn, just down the road. The Comfreys have long been caretakers of the inn, and most of the people living on their property are connected in some way, either through work or having lived there in the winter. Okay. The inn is a historical property that has been run by the same family for generations, and before that it was a productive orchard. Many of its summer guests have been coming the same week for decades, even generations. It is cherished for its feeling of a simpler time. This beach was also a significant location to the Lami Nation as a seasonal fishing village. Okay. Here's a zone map, briefly. The 2 Zone 0s are the office and the caretaker's farmhouse. There is a high volume of water use from laundry, and rainwater that is diverted but not collected. The blackberry bramble, above the septic tank, could be converted to a gray water garden that could be a beautiful place for employees who live on-site to relax. Additionally, there is a large amount of bio-waste produced which could be used as a resource. Okay. Here is a diagram of some simple additions, including 2 areas that could be irrigated by gray water. There should also be swales in the eastern pasture to reduce the amount of water that floods the lodge basement in the winter. Okay. Perhaps the most significant piece of this design is its social permaculture. As shown in this drawing, the inn strives for ethical relationships and does its best to be friendly with everyone, yet the financial terms of these relationships can limit what is possible. Additionally, the inn is chronically understaffed, and there are many land-based projects that could be done, yet no budget to pay for them. If the inn were to supplement their existing economics with a time banking model, they could engage their employees and the greater community in a more holistic way. Employees would be encouraged to do what intrinsically motivates them, beyond wage labor, in exchange for winter lodging. There could be work parties followed by potlucks, and guests could have the opportunity to experience life on a functional farm instead of just the idea of one. Finally, these respectful, reciprocal relationships, including that with the land, will help create an atmosphere in which our Indigenous neighbors will actually feel welcome.
Goal 3 is to trust the wisdom of nature and improve what already exists. The natural world is integral to life at the Comrie family parcel and the North Beach Inn. The current environment includes fruit orchards, berry thickets, and quote-unquote unwanted plants such as Scotch broom and thistles. Wild edibles and medicinals already exist on site, such as alder catkins, maple flowers, and nettle tops. A principle of permaculture is that waste is a resource. Weeds, quote-unquote, often have uses if we look closely enough. For example, the roots, stems, leaves, and immature flower heads of thistles are edible. Scotch broom might be used as an animal fodder. It seems to prefer poor soils, and so as soils are improved, the invasiveness of Scotch broom may decline. Wild rose can be used as a barrier plant and as stabilization along waterways. It is fragrant and makes a tasty tea. Next. These existing species can be added to new ones to create a variety of gardens and guilds. These can increase food production for those living at the Comrie family parcel, as well as providing farm-to-table production for guests at the North Beach Inn. The vegetable garden could be tended by persons doing work trade, and the garden would be a welcoming area for the guests. Next. The orchards on both properties can have guilds, even super guilds, that expand over time and reflect microclimate niches. A diversity of tree species exist, many of which are 10 to 100 years old. A red alder guild would specifically emphasize deer-proof plants that provide good habitat and that also are useful for humans. There are alder groves throughout the forest on both parcels, so these could be food hubs. Many of these species already exist on the properties, and similar species could be planted along the new forest trails. Next. The gathering centers will be created at both the North Beach Inn and the Comrie family parcel. These will be places where visitors and employees can meet, garden, and relax. A gathering center at the Comrie family parcel could be nestled into the existing fruit orchard. A pathway of pachysandra and creeping thyme would mark the entrance to the center. Blackberry thickets could be tucked between the space and the orchard, lined with stones for grounding. The space itself could be filled with a ground cover of white clover. Groupings of lemon balm, yarrow, and lupine would define the edges of the space without confining the space. A cob fire ring and cob seating could be added. The gathering center would be located close to the woven willow dome. Vegetation can also be grown for biomass. Paths through the salmonberry thicket on the Comrie family parcel are often wet and muddy. Growing plants for mulch, such as willow, and planting ground covers that thrive in moist soils and shady areas can help improve the paths while improving the soil itself. Pachysandra and spotted dead needle are both ground covers that thrive in shady areas and moist soil. Next. An herb spiral filled with cooking herbs would be developed close to the inn. The spiral would follow the design by Bill Mollison in Permaculture, a Designer's Manual. An herb spiral labyrinth combines the classic permaculture herb spiral with the healing power of walking the labyrinth. Lining the path of the labyrinth with sweet-smelling and tasty herbs and plants that attract insects will provide inspiration for all the senses. Next. In the North Beach Inn Zone 1B, new additions would include a cob oven, dining table, and tea house, plus the herb spiral and vegetable garden. A privacy hedge would be installed to separate a guest cottage from the public spaces.
The garden will become a place that engages guests, and other features can be added nearby to enhance the community feel. There could be weekly potlucks with the cob oven and long table, and tea can be shared in the little tea house. The cob fire ring would be placed near the beach for sunset gatherings. Okay. As most guests are visiting from isolating and competitive city cultures, the sense of cooperation and depth would be a welcome change. It is our hope that the creative liberation that we experience at the Comfrey family property can influence the culture of North Beach Inn, which can then be taken as seeds back out to the mainland world by guests.
The largest project in this design are the straw bale roundhouse constructions. This requires months of research and development, which would be greatly enhanced by community engagement. Raising awareness in the community about this project and the other build-outs brings people together through volunteering and skill-building opportunities. Fundraising is a great way to engage in community outreach by providing services and activities to new people, like bake sales, junk sales, racing or games, and vendors markets for a small fee going towards the cause. Within the more insular community at North Beach Inn and the Comrie parcel, regular meetings to discuss projects, create community agreements, imagine greater possibilities in business models like a co-op would create tremendous change. Implementing workshops on conflict resolution, relationships to land, emotional well-being, social organizing require dedicated time and care, but could greatly benefit the entire social life of those in the community. At CFP, people currently live in a mixture of campers, vans, a motor home, and even a treehouse. The trailer home is from the 1950s and is not centrally heated and has a disorganized kitchen. There is also an outhouse, a sauna in construction, a garden shed, a tool shed, a greenhouse, and a temporary outdoor kitchen. Because this is a transitional space for people in a housing crisis, a lot of debris and forgotten materials have been left behind, so all those materials need to get cleaned up and made use of or thrown out to make way for permanent buildings that aim to solve issues of lack of amenities, housing, and communal spaces. In this map, you'll see the locations of current structures and the potential locations for new structures. New structures include custom porches with storage, 2 to 3 straw bale roundhouses for permanent living, a rain-catching outdoor kitchen, slow sand filter and cistern, a mulch/compost water heater, and 3 shower stalls. Additional amenities include a makerspace to work on projects, a sauna, a fire pit, and a hot tub. On the top right is a prototype for a custom-designed porch for current living structures, which includes storage, steps, and a roof. To the left, you'll see a potential design for the straw bale roundhouses. Roundhouses would have all the same components, but designed in different ways to fit whatever needs of the person living there. The roofs are all reciprocal, but with different exterior material options. The eaves of the roofs would fall lower than usual and be connected to an outdoor barrier for storage made of wattle and stone, which will hide things like human manure barrels, water storage, firewood, and any personal items. There will also be a rocket mass heater that extends into a bench or a bed and a loft that could be used for sleeping or storage, and a curtained-off area for a composting toilet and wood chips. Electricity needs to be run to these homes. Here, we see a configuration for the rain catchment outdoor kitchen, water filter system, compost water heater, and showers draining to a gray water mulch bed near a woven willow structure. The showers will be made 3-sided with open doorways, a corrugated plastic roof, and an essential 3-partition stall system. The water for the showers comes from the rainwater catchment system of the kitchen that flows through a slow sand filter, including a first rain diverter pumped by a wind turbine, and will be run under a mulch compost with a hose to serve as a water heater. The kitchen will be open-air timber framed and have a plastic roof. The timber used in the frame will be charred as a way to protect from the elements and make it bug and fire resistant in a traditional Japanese method called shosugiban. The timber used in all the structures will be peeled and charred. Amenities of the kitchen include the cob hot kitchen, a sink, a cob pantry, a Zier pot fridge, and a conventional fridge that needs to be hooked up to electricity. The structure of the kitchen could be repeated as a tool shed in the future or as an alternative design for the makerspace. The kitchen sink and bar area will face the hot kitchen towards the inside of the structure. The sink will have minimum plumbing and come from the cistern and emanate out towards the mulch water heater or to a gray water drain near the marsh. The hot cob kitchen includes wood countertops, a rocket mass burner which only necessitates a few twigs to heat something like a teapot, an oven, a grill, and small storage and shelving. The base of the hot kitchen is stone. On opposite ends of the property, a sauna and a makerspace will be constructed based on a design by a collective named Studio Rain. This design for a sauna could be up and down scaled and recreated in different ways to meet different needs. The makerspace will be bigger and probably sit on the ground, while the sauna will be small and sitting on a deck. Both spaces require a wood stove and will incorporate a rain catchment roof. The original design is made out of wood, tile, and polycarbonate. Since polycarbonate is extremely expensive, the makerspace will probably be made of a different kind of material, either corrugated plastic or steel. Last but not least, also set on opposite ends of the property, a fire pit and a hot tub create a sense of community and closeness if used by a group. Both are made out of cob and have stone or brick pavers surrounding it. A preliminary design for the hot tub includes a central fire pit to heat the water from the inside out.